Good morning. It's on now. If everyone could make your way to your seats, please, we'll get started. Thank you for being here this morning. My name is Joni Seymour, and I am the Chief Innovation Officer of the Oklahoma Department of Transportation and the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. A little logistics to get out of the way this morning. The bathrooms are located outside of the doors to the right. I'm so happy to be here with you on Oklahoma Transportation Research Day, and I have the pleasure of introducing our initial speakers this morning. First up, we have Mr. Brian Taylor. Brian was named Chief Engineer of ODOT in March of 2019. He oversees all statewide engineering and operation activities. Brian has 28 years of experience at ODOT, starting in 1990, with experiences in the offices of traffic and maintenance. Then he transitioned to a division engineer for several ODOT districts. Brian is a native of Texarkana, Texas, don't hold that against him, and earned his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Texas A&M. And the room was quiet. He became a professional engineer in 1995. He and his wife, Deanne, have 2 children and live in Stillwater. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Taylor to the stage.
Well, good morning. It's great to be here. It is a good morning, and any day's a good day that we get to talk about asphalt and concrete. It's something that I don't get to spend much time on. So we saw some structural steel, really exciting. This is not only going to be a good day, but this has been a good month for the Department of Transportation. We recently approved our 8-year construction work plan and our asset preservation plan. The way the 8-year construction work plan works, it's 8 years worth of projects programmed, and the projects are programmed based on what our anticipated budget would be. We're not allowed to deficit spend, and it's very important that as an organization, as a Department of Transportation, we take that look, that future look, and budget for it. Something interesting has taken place, and along with EJA, we've seen probably an additional 28 to 30% of additional dollars come our way, but tracking our 20 top pay items from 2019, we've seen an increase of 63% of inflation, and that is just tracking our 20 largest spends for the Department of Transportation. So we started out being very thankful for the additional federal dollars. We're about 2.5 years in to a 5-year highway bill. By the end of the 5-year highway bill, maybe we'll completely understand what all's in it. Right now, we're hoping that with that 63% inflation, we're hoping that we break even at the end and hoping that we don't go backwards. But those are things that we track. And right now, we took a very conservative approach, but even taking that conservative approach, the 8 years worth of projects, including the asset preservation plan, which is about $500 million per year over a 4-year time period. And those are for projects to make an immediate impact. They're more fluid. They're able to respond to changing conditions, so they're not necessarily locked into stone. With that, in the 8-year plan, we're looking at $9 billion over the next 8 years invested in highways within the state of Oklahoma. Those are our most critical projects. The Transportation Commission approved the plan at the last commission meeting. Within the plan, we have 15 remaining structurally deficient bridges, and back in 2006, that number, we're talking 15 today. Out of the 15, all but 2 of those, I believe, are under construction. Also In 2004, 2005 era, that number was 1,168. So Oklahoma became famous, and we became famous in a bad way. We were number 49 in the condition of our bridges within the nation. Today, I can tell you we're fifth. That was in 2022 when we pulled the tape. We went from 1,168 structurally deficient bridges to about 45. Today, we're at the number 15, something that takes incredibly a lot of focus, laser focus, and it certainly took away from some other needs that we may have that we're now concentrating on. We've talked a little bit about safety. We recently had a safety conference. It was a great conference in that we had all the different disciplines involved, and we all came together, whether your job was enforcement, first responder, or medical, where you were part of the golden hour. But we grouped those engineering, education, enforcement, engagement, and certainly emergency response. We got everybody in the room, and the whole goal is to reduce the number of fatalities in the state of Oklahoma. It's not just our goal, but it is a goal that the governor made for us that we track very closely. And when you start looking at fatalities in Oklahoma, you see that about 35% of the population is rural. But yet 65% of the fatalities occur on our rural network. As a result, we're focusing efforts on adding shoulders to two-way roadways with deficient shoulders. The penalty of crossing that white edge line shouldn't be injury or death. We need a place for you to recover. We need a place to put a rumble strip so we can provide that audible, vibratory message back to the driver so you can correct your action and have room to recover. With that, it's quite a challenge similar to our bridges in that we have over 5,300 miles in the state of Oklahoma that is two-lane, two-way with a deficient shoulder. Of that 5,300 miles, we have 1,100 of those miles in our 8-year construction work plan to add shoulders to. We keep taking that pace of 1,000 plus miles each year. In 4 or 5 cycles, we'll have it down to a number that is more manageable. Obviously, we're not going to add shoulders to every two-lane, two-way without shoulders in the state of Oklahoma. There are several on a good day may not carry 100 vehicles per day, and we certainly have other uses for that money. When you start talking about safety, and please don't fact check me, I'm going to go by memory just a little bit, our seatbelt usage. So the one thing that we can do in the state of Oklahoma to drive down the numbers more than anything is increase our percent seatbelt usage. When you start looking at the fatalities that we have, and we get a report, we get an email every time there's a fatality in the state of Oklahoma, and it goes through the information. And unfortunately, 2 weekends ago, I ran across a name that I knew, and then I ran across a name of somebody that I went to church with. So I lost 2 people over the weekend, one in Choctaw County and one in Payne County, folks that I knew. And that's always the thing you hate to see when you open it up. You're always worried when you get that fatality report. You look at it and you start reviewing it, and you look over who was restrained and who wasn't. Well, here I'm going to start using numbers, and I may get this wrong, but you are 65% more likely to be in a fatality accident. Be a fatality as part of an accident if you're unrestrained. So irregardless if I got the number wrong, if you're good at math, you know that you need to be wearing seatbelts. It's something that can really make a difference and drive down the fatality numbers. Couple other facts about our 8-year construction work plan. We have 738 total projects. Of those 1,738 projects, 643 are bridges by themselves, and nearly 3,800 miles of roadway improvements, whether that's adding shoulders, adding capacity, doing some surfacing work. Some of the major projects that you're going to be seeing in the area is I-35, 240. Certainly I-35 and 44 out here is under construction right now. Not too long from now, we're going to be working on, we call it, you may know it as the Mathis Brothers Interchange, but we're going to be working on solutions on what that's going to look like in the future. And certainly, a look at fixing the bottleneck that exists where we have 4 to 5 lanes each side, but we have a two lane each direction over 44. So that's very complicated. I'm not sure the engineer who decided to put a system-to-system interchange next to a river and a railroad and a fairground and Mathis Brothers, but it's a tough solution, but we're going to be working on it. Some other notable projects in the Tulsa area is 4475. Right now, you see our piers in the air. Some folks are calling it Stonehenge, but that was the way for us to build, to complete activities while we had time and they didn't conflict with traffic. So we tried to build those every place we could, and in order to speed up construction in the future. Southeast Oklahoma, a lot of activity going on around Ho Chi Town, State Highway 37, US 259, and certainly 259 through Ho Chi Town. South Central Oklahoma, I-44 and 37 East, and Southwest 119th in Cleveland County, certainly 145 over I-35 in Garvin County, as well as improvements along I-35 in Marietta and Love County. If you've been paying attention to the Transportation Commission meetings, you've seen and heard me talk about an emphasis on I-35, and it's a report that we plan to finalize by the end of the year. What we're looking at is we're looking at the level of service I-35 provides, but we're also looking at the importance of I-35 and the travel time reliability, the safety, and we're also responding to what the state of Texas is doing. State of Texas has $19 billion dedicated towards I-35 from the border up to the Red River. We have $490 million within the 8-year construction work plan dedicated to it right now. How do we address the needs of I-35 for the future? We know Texas is building 6 lanes on an 8 lanes worth of right-of-way. And as we speak, we're partnering with them on about a $300 million project at the Red River where we share bridges. And we're thankful for a grant that we received working together to help pay for that project. But we're looking at where the needs are of the future. And the I-35 corridor has it's very overwhelming and compelling evidence to do something and do something soon. When you start looking at the needs, I'll tell you that you see a gravitational pull. The gravitational pull is of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro, and the gravitational pull is of Oklahoma City and the surrounding cities around it. As you get closer to those, you start experiencing quite a bit of difficulty, whether that be travel times, capacity, safety issues. I would encourage you, when the report's released, to take time to understand all the information that we're trying to present. I'd also encourage you to get in touch with myself or somebody at the Department of Transportation, where I could come out and possibly speak to a local group. I could talk to a classroom or whatever. I've ate a lot of chicken and green beans at Kiwanis Club meetings, and I'm more than happy to do some more of it. In western Oklahoma, we have the completion of the 270 corridor. We have two projects, I believe they're south of the Sealing area, to basically finish the Northwest Passage along 270 and State Highway 3. In northwest Oklahoma, we have State Highway 45 in Alfalfa County. And all the work that we're doing, it wouldn't be possible without the hard work of our consultants and certainly our employees. But we've been very effective at acquiring grants. One of them is the mega grant, an $85 million mega grant for I-44/75 in Tulsa. We also had a $10 million grant at the same location for pedestrian connectivity. We've been taking advantage of TIFIA loans. TIFIA loans are incredibly low interest rate, just a couple of points above what the Treasury is. Prior to COVID, we were seeing a cost increase or cost escalation of about 2 to 3% a year. The interest rate on TIFIA at the time that we sold these or entered into the TIFIA loan, I believe was just a little more than 1.5%. So as a tool, we've took advantage of it. We're using it to accelerate our construction within the state of Oklahoma, within our priority areas. A couple things that probably I failed to mention, there's a lot of folks that work really hard to put something like this together, and they're very good at it. And if you were part of this, putting everything together, please raise your hand, and I'd like for everybody to recognize you and all the hard work you've done. If you'd raise your hand. Well, thank you. Another thank you would go to Dr. Molina. Dr. Molina's, he did a little research for us, what he does best. And this is our 16th year to host OTRD. We have a great agenda prepared. Again, it's not every day that I get to be in a room where we're talking asphalt and concrete, but I actually prefer this would be my location of choice this morning. I'm looking forward to hearing the conversations. We're making a really big difference in the state of Oklahoma and the changes that are taking place. I would tell you that progress occurs as a result of change, and change creates pain. We are right now, we are making a lot of progress. So there's a lot of work to be done, but we're making each day a little better than the last. I would encourage you to collaborate today, to take time to stop by, learn something from somebody else, that you not only share, but you listen and incorporate those things. Those will make us better going forward. Again, thank you to the ODOT team. It's a great time for research in the state of Oklahoma, especially since the University of Oklahoma was the recipient of the Regional University Transportation Center grant. We know that exciting things are going to come from the collaborative effort of the universities in the consortium. I thank you for coming out today. Thank you for choosing to be here today. And I'm now going to hand it over to our moderator this morning, Mrs. Joni Seymour. Thank you.